The young man swallowed. "I know who that is." Nobody responded. He pointed carefully. "That's Mike Tyson." Silence. Complete silence. The kind that arrives when reality suddenly changes direction. The leader laughed. At first. Then he looked closer. Much closer. And the confidence began to disappear. Because now he saw it too. The face wasn't just familiar. It was unforgettable. Millions of people around the world recognized it instantly. The former heavyweight champion. One of the most feared fighters in boxing history. A man whose knockouts had become legendary. A man who had spent years training his body and mind for combat. A man standing less than 10 feet away. The realization hit every member of the group differently. One looked shocked. Another looked embarrassed. One appeared genuinely frightened. The situation they thought they controlled had completely reversed. Moments earlier, they believed they were hunting a victim. Now they understood they had accidentally cornered Mike Tyson. And Tyson still hadn't moved. That might have been the most unsettling part. No fighting stance. No threats. No aggression. Just complete composure. The leader cleared his throat, trying desperately to regain control. But his voice sounded different now. Smaller. Less certain. Tyson noticed immediately. Everyone did. Fear has a way of revealing itself, even when people try to hide it. The younger man spoke first. "We should go." Nobody argued. Because deep down they all agreed. The robbery was over. Not because Tyson had thrown a punch. Not because violence had occurred. But because reality had finally caught up with bad decisions. Tyson looked at them quietly, then said something simple. "You guys have a choice." Nobody interrupted. "You can walk away right now." The words hung in the air. Simple. Direct. No insults. No ego. No attempt to humiliate anyone. Just an opportunity. A chance to avoid making a terrible situation worse. Years earlier, Tyson might have reacted differently. Younger Tyson lived in a world driven by anger and pride. But this Tyson understood something many people never learn. Winning isn't always about fighting. Sometimes winning means refusing to fight. Sometimes real strength means maintaining control when chaos is trying to pull you in. The men looked at one another. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then the leader nodded. A small nod. Almost invisible. But everyone understood. It was over. They turned around, one by one, and started walking back toward the vehicle. The tension began to fade. The city noises slowly returned. The distant traffic. The hum of streetlights. The normal sounds of an ordinary night. Tyson remained where he was. Watching. Waiting. Making sure the situation truly ended. The vehicle doors closed. The engine started. And within moments, they were gone. Just like that. No punches. No dramatic showdown. No chaos. No headlines. Only a lesson. A lesson that would stay with those men far longer than any physical confrontation ever could. Most people imagine courage as something loud. Something explosive. A heroic moment filled with action. But real courage often looks different. Sometimes it looks like staying calm when everyone else expects panic. Sometimes it looks like refusing to let fear control your decisions. And sometimes it looks like giving people a chance to make a better choice. As Tyson resumed walking, the streets seemed strangely peaceful. The encounter lasted only minutes. Yet it revealed something important. Reputation is powerful, but character is even more powerful. The men recognized Tyson because of what he had done inside the ring. But what ended the confrontation wasn't his boxing record. It wasn't his power. It wasn't his fame. It was his composure, his control, his ability to remain calm under pressure. Many years earlier, trainers often said Tyson possessed unusual psychological strength. Opponents frequently lost confidence before fights even began. Not because Tyson talked endlessly. Not because he tried to intimidate them. But because he projected certainty. Calm certainty. The kind that comes from preparation. The kind that comes from experience. That same certainty appeared again on that street. And the criminals felt it immediately. Human beings are surprisingly good at detecting confidence. Not fake confidence. Real confidence. The kind built through adversity. The kind earned over years. And Tyson carried that confidence naturally. He didn't need to announce it. People could feel it. The funny thing is that the story didn't end there. A few days later, rumors about the incident began circulating among people connected to the neighborhood. Stories spread quickly, especially unusual stories. At first, nobody believed it. A group of criminals accidentally attempting to rob Mike Tyson sounded almost fictional, like something written for a movie. But the more people heard it, the more details matched. Eventually, even those who weren't present knew the basic outline. And nearly everyone reacted the same way. Disbelief, followed by laughter. Because of all the people in the world someone could mistakenly target, Mike Tyson ranked near the very bottom of the list. Yet beneath the humor was something more meaningful. The story became a reminder of how easily appearances can deceive. The criminals saw a man walking alone. They assumed vulnerability. They assumed weakness. They assumed opportunity. Every assumption was wrong. And that lesson extends far beyond one street on one night. People make assumptions every day. About strangers. About coworkers. About competitors. About life itself. They judge based on appearances, limited information, incomplete understanding. And sometimes those assumptions create consequences. The group that approached Tyson learned that lesson firsthand. What looked like an easy situation turned out to be something entirely different. What appeared simple became complicated. What seemed predictable became unforgettable. Years later, stories involving Mike Tyson continue attracting attention for one reason. People are fascinated by transformation. Tyson's life has never followed a straight line. His journey includes extraordinary highs and devastating lows, victory and defeat, fame and controversy, wealth and hardship. Yet through it all, he continued evolving. The man walking down that street wasn't merely a former champion. He was the product of decades of experience, mistakes, lessons, growth. And perhaps that's why the encounter resonates with so many people. Because underneath the suspense is a deeper truth. Strength changes over time. When we're young, we often define strength physically. The ability to dominate. The ability to overpower. The ability to win. But as life progresses, many people discover a different version of strength. Patience. Discipline, self-control, wisdom, the ability to remain calm when circumstances encourage the opposite. Tyson demonstrated that version of strength on that night. Not through violence, but through restraint. Not through intimidation, but through presence. And not through aggression, but through confidence. The men who approached him expected fear. Instead, they encountered certainty. And certainty is difficult to manipulate, difficult to intimidate, difficult to control. Eventually, Tyson reached his destination and continued with life as usual. No dramatic interviews followed. No endless discussion. Just another chapter in a life already filled with remarkable stories. Yet the incident remains memorable because it highlights something universal. You never truly know who you're dealing with. The quiet person in the room may possess extraordinary resilience. The stranger on the street may have overcome challenges you cannot imagine. The individual everyone underestimates may be stronger than anyone realizes. Appearances reveal very little. Character reveals everything. And on that quiet summer night, a group of criminals discovered that lesson in the most unexpected way possible. They thought they had found an easy target. Instead, they found Mike Tyson, a man whose greatest weapon wasn't his punch. It was the calm confidence behind it. And in the end, that was more than enough. Because sometimes the biggest mistake of your life isn't losing a fight. Sometimes it's choosing the wrong person to challenge in the first place. And for those men, the moment they stepped out of that vehicle and approached Mike Tyson, that mistake had already been made. The good news for them was that they recognized it before it was too late. The better news was that Tyson gave them the opportunity to walk away. Not everyone gets that chance. And perhaps that's the real story. Not that they tried to rob Mike Tyson, but that Mike Tyson, despite every reason to react differently, chose wisdom over violence. In a world that often celebrates conflict, that might be the most impressive victory of all. Have you ever looked at someone and assumed they were just another face in the crowd? That's exactly what happened one humid summer night when a group of criminals spotted a quiet man walking alone through a dimly lit street. To them, he looked like an easy target. No security, no bodyguards, no flashy entourage, just one man. What they didn't realize was that the man they had chosen was Mike Tyson. And before the night was over, every single one of them would wish they had walked away. It was close to midnight. The city was still awake, but only barely. Most businesses had already closed their doors. Streetlights cast long shadows across empty sidewalks, and the distant sound of traffic echoed through the warm night air. Mike Tyson had spent the evening meeting friends at a private event. Nothing unusual. No cameras. No press. No headlines. Just a quiet evening away from the spotlight. At this stage in his life, Tyson wasn't the same man the world remembered from the late 1980s. The young fighter who once terrified opponents before the opening bell had changed. Years of victories, losses, mistakes, redemption, and reflection had transformed him. He still carried the presence that made people stop and stare. But he no longer walked around looking for conflict. In fact, he avoided it whenever possible. That night, he decided to leave earlier than everyone else. He wanted some fresh air. Instead of waiting for a ride immediately, he chose to walk a few blocks through the city. The streets weren't completely empty. A few people wandered between restaurants. A couple stood outside a convenience store. Some workers were cleaning up after closing time. Nothing seemed unusual, at least not at first. Several blocks away, a group of men sat inside a parked vehicle. They had spent the evening looking for opportunities. Not jobs, not business. Opportunities of a different kind. The kind that usually ended with someone losing a wallet, a watch, or something far more valuable. They weren't looking for a fight. They were looking for an easy victim. Someone distracted. Someone alone. Someone who would panic. And then they saw him. One man. Walking by himself. No security. No visible protection. No reason to think twice. Or so they believed. One of the men leaned forward. Looks easy. Another nodded. He probably has money. A third man glanced through the windshield. Let's do it. The decision was made in seconds. The vehicle slowly rolled forward. Meanwhile, Tyson continued walking. Calm. Relaxed. Completely unaware that several sets of eyes had locked onto him. Or perhaps he was aware. One thing people often forget about Mike Tyson is that years inside and outside the boxing ring sharpened his instincts. Elite fighters develop a different awareness. They notice movement, body language, changes in energy, little details most people ignore. Even when they appear relaxed, part of their mind is constantly observing. As Tyson reached a quieter section of the street, he noticed something. The same vehicle had passed him twice, then slowed down, then stopped. For a moment, he kept walking. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe he was imagining things. But then the doors opened, and 4 men stepped out. Tyson's pace slowed slightly, not from fear, from caution. The men spread out as they approached. Anyone watching from a distance would have noticed the pattern immediately. This wasn't a random conversation. This was a setup. The leader stepped forward first. He wore a confident smile. The kind that wasn't really a smile at all. Hey man. Tyson stopped. Yeah. The man looked him up and down. You got the time? It was one of the oldest tricks in the book. A distraction. An excuse to get close. Tyson knew it immediately. The question wasn't important. The distance was. Still, he remained calm. No. The smile disappeared. The atmosphere changed instantly. Another man stepped closer. Maybe you didn't hear him. Tyson looked at him. I heard him. The street suddenly felt quieter. The air heavier. Everyone involved understood what was happening. Nobody needed to say it out loud. The robbery had already begun. The only question was how it would end. Most people, when confronted by multiple attackers, experience panic. Their thoughts race. Their breathing changes. Their judgment disappears. That's normal. Human beings aren't built to enjoy confrontation. But Mike Tyson wasn't most people. Long before he became heavyweight champion of the world, he had grown up in some of the toughest neighborhoods imaginable. He had seen violence, experienced fear, learned survival. The boxing ring had simply refined what life had already taught him. The leader took another step forward. "Give us your watch." Tyson glanced at his wrist, then back at the man. His expression never changed. For a moment, nobody spoke. The criminals expected hesitation, fear, negotiation, something. Instead, Tyson simply stood there, calm, almost relaxed. One of the younger men suddenly felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. Victims didn't behave this way. Victims looked scared. Victims looked trapped. This man looked like he was evaluating them. The realization arrived slowly. Then all at once, the younger man squinted. His eyes widened. He nudged the person beside him. "Wait." The others ignored him. The leader remained focused. "Take off the watch." Tyson sighed. Not dramatically. Not aggressively. Just the sigh of someone tired of unnecessary problems. Then he spoke. "You really don't want to do this." The words weren't loud. They weren't threatening. If anything, they sounded sincere, like genuine advice. For the first time, uncertainty entered the group. The younger man stared harder. The face, the voice, the build, the eyes. Suddenly, it clicked. His stomach dropped. No way. He took a step backward. The others looked confused. What?